All right, workout worthy, welcome to the Ultimate Squat Guide. Today we are spending 5 minutes on fitness, focusing on squats. Squats are a fundamental movement that are fantastic for lower body strength, core stability, overall function, and fitness. We're gonna do 5 different squat variations. And the first 4 I am going to do with my body weight only. If you would like to add resistance, you can to add a challenge. The last squat, we will be having optional dumbbells to add resistance to the challenge. Now the first squat is going to be a traditional squat. You want your legs hip to shoulder width apart with your toes angled slightly out. Weight is in your heels, chest is lifted, and your core is engaged. Feel like you're sucking your belly in, flexing through your core muscles. We are going to do 1 minute of these traditional squats. Sitting back like you're sitting in a chair, and you can start small, make sure you're centered, make sure you're balanced. And the range of motion is what works for you. Parallel to the floor is ideal, but if you cannot go that low, just do what your body needs. Now we are sitting back like we're sitting in a chair, just a little bit too far away. So feel like you're reaching your hips back. The weight stays in the heels of our feet, and our knees are gonna go forward, but you don't want your knees going forward past your shoelaces. Everyone's body is different, so everyone's squat is going to look a little bit different. Our chest stays lifted, our belly button faces forward, not the floor. So we're not doing a deep hip hinge and leading forward. I like to think that I want to see the spot where my belly button is, even at the bottom of my squat. Shoulders stay low and relaxed, neck is long and lean, and we are breathing. We're strengthening our glutes, our hamstrings, our quads, inner and outer thighs, and our core. Keep breathing. We've got 5 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Now we're gonna move into a narrow squat. I don't like to have my feet together. I like to think about where my hip bones are, and your feet are parallel, almost like you're on cross-country skis. Weight is still in your heels, and a lot of the movements stay the same. We're gonna do another minute, going at your own pace. Here we go. 60 seconds. Now with these narrow squats, you might not be able to squat quite as deep because there's less of a center to stay balanced and stable. You also might have a little bit more of a hip hinge, but still keep your chest lifted. Weight stays in your heels. I often will curl my toes in my shoes just to make sure my weight is not shifting forward. You do not want to feel a stretch in your calves or your heels. Still sitting back like you're sitting in a chair, keeping your chest lifted and breathing. Now you'll notice your heart rate is elevating. These are very large muscle groups. Your cardiovascular system has to get oxygen to these muscles as they move. Even without resistance, this is a great strengthening of the lower body. 3, 2, and 1. Now our third squat is going to be a sumo squat. A little bit wider than shoulder width apart, and your toes are angled out. Now as always, wherever your toes point when you squat, your knees follow. Think about your knees as bending, never twisting. 1 minute, here we go. So with a sumo squat, we have that wider stance. It's great for hip flexibility and mobility. Your knees follow the angle of your toes. Your hips are still reaching back, but the chair is not quite so far away, and you might be able to go deeper into this sumo squat. The squat movement should be a challenge, but not painful. Breathing, we're halfway already. Chest is lifted. Nice neutral spine. We want to keep our pelvic bone neutral throughout our squatting. And what that means is we don't want to arch our back, and we don't want to tuck our hips rounding our back. Head is an extension of your spine. So if you're looking down when you squat, your head is heavy, and that's going to put a lot of stress on your neck. If you're looking straight ahead, every time you squat, your neck is going to pinch. So think about keeping that chin level. And we are done. So we've done traditional squats, narrow squats, sumo squats. The fourth option is going to be a plie squat. And this, you really want to open through your hips. Your anatomy, your flexibility is going to affect where your plie goes. But your toes are angled out as wide as you can. Chest is lifted, and I like to visualize a wall in front, a wall in back. And as I do my plie, I'm operating through that narrow space between those walls. Now the distance, do a plie because you want to see your knees above your ankles. If your feet are too close together, it's going to look like a diamond. And that's bad. If your feet are too wide, it's not as bad as dangerous, but it still is not what we want. So get in a position where when you bend your knees are right above your ankles. Now your depth, it's a little bit of strength, a little bit of flexibility, a lot of balance, but as I mentioned, it's also your anatomy. So don't force a deep plie if that's not what your body needs. 1 minute, here we go. Lower and lift, lower and lift. So I've got that neutral spine. My pelvic bone is not tucking and arching as I'm doing my plie. I'm simply bending my knees, pressing back up. Bend and press. Now if my toes were angled more forward, my butt would go back a little bit more, but wherever my toes point, you want your knees following that. Inhale as you lower, exhale as you lift, breathing through the challenge. Inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale. As we start to fatigue, your speed is going to slow down, but we never compromise form. You also might not go as deep as you start to fatigue, and that is okay. Just make sure you're always in good form. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, and 1. Now, as promised for our last set, we're going to add resistance, bending your knees, lift with your legs. You want to never injure yourself when you're picking up resistance to exercise, so do that carefully. We're going to go back to the traditional squat, so legs are hip to shoulder width apart. Dumbbells, you can keep them at your side, but sometimes that will hunch you forward. So if your dumbbells are changing your squat form, they should hang right at your side without swinging back and forth. I love putting my dumbbells up on my shoulders so that they're out of the way. And because I give my arms a little bit of a break, usually I do full body workouts, so this is a chance for my arms to rest before the next upper body challenge. So wherever you need your dumbbells to be, adding resistance adds challenge. So we get more muscular strength, we get more cardiovascular. We also get bone density from this resistance challenge. So there are a lot of benefits to adding resistance to these squats. You need to have a good foundation of good form though, before you put a load or resistance on your squat. 60 seconds, our last squats. Chest is lifted, abs are tight. Inhale and exhale. Toes are angled slightly out, knees following the angle of your toes, reaching your hips back while you keep your chest lifted. Head is an extension of your spine with your chin nice and level, neck is long and lean. And our core is stabilizing through every squat we've done today. Past the halfway point on this final squat challenge. Ten seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Fantastic job, workout worthy. Bending your knees, set those weights down. Hopefully this answers a lot of your questions regarding squats, how to do them effectively and safely. Like this channel, like this video, comment underneath, let me know what your favorite squat is, and add squats into your daily routine. There's such a correlation between leg strength and longevity, your health and your wellness.